Hey, welcome back to the Lightspeed Social Agency YouTube channel. I'm your host, Cody Owen, as always, and I want to talk to you this week about employee retention, why you can't keep landscaping employees in your business. So bottom line, there are three reasons why employees leave, and we're just gonna go into them real quickly and talk about how we can combat them. Number one is that you don't pay enough. We talked about this last week about why you can't attract employees, but if an employee can do an easier job in the air conditioning for more money, why would they stay with you, right? That is an important thing to be thinking about here. I know that comes off kind of adversarial, but you have to think about an employee is exchanging their finite resource, the hours that they have in a day, for money. Why would they do a harder job for less money? It's a bad deal, right? So think about that when you are approaching employees about their pay coming into the company. But then also, this is sort of a sub point here for why you can't keep them, is you're not giving raises on an appropriate schedule, or you're finding excuses to not give raises, or you're throwing, 10 to 12 cents an hour at someone as though that's some big gift. This is super important. You have to compete with the prevailing wage in your market, right? If someone can go somewhere else and do an easier job, or a job that's just as hard or even a little harder for more money, they're going to, right? So you have to look at what it makes sense to pay people. What is the appropriate hourly wage in your market for the job they are doing and the job that they could leave you for, right? And if someone develops like a very specific set of skills to leave, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, they could go and get a job in a call center tomorrow for X amount of dollars per hour. So that is what you're competing against there. So if you are the kind of boss who is not giving a raise that keeps up with inflation, that keeps their pay competitive with even what other lawn care companies would pay them to leave, then you're gonna lose employees, right? Like that, it's gonna be a leak and it's gonna happen. So you have to think about that. And I when I say this to lawn care business owners, what they tell me is that, well, there won't be any profit in it anymore if I raise to match the prevailing wage. If that is the answer, your prices are not high enough. If you cannot afford to pay your employees enough to keep them in the business, then you're not charging your customers enough. Right? The market determines what the prevailing rate for an employee is, and that rate is climbing right now. And if you are not matching it because your pricing structure doesn't work for that, then you have not evaluated your pricing structure correctly, right? Like, we love to point at every other problem in the business and blame it on a circumstance or blame it on employees. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. And if your pricing structure does not allow you to pay your employees enough to keep them on board, they're going to leave, and it is your fault. So look at that, figure out how to fix it. You can always test price increases with a certain number of customers. You can even look at the customers, like literally make a list of the customers who are the most annoying, that it wouldn't really be any skin off your nose if they left, and test your price increase on them. Make them worth keeping around. And if they leave and it was approaching being an unprofitable job, or they waste a bunch of your time, always on the phone, pestering you, it's just, everybody has those customers that just can't be satisfied. It's not a loss to lose them, right? Like, your time is valuable and they're cutting into that. So test price increases that way, roll them out slowly. The second way that you lose employees, even if you're paying competitively, is by having a workplace culture that sucks. And the first sign of this is that you hate going into the shop. You hate going into the office. If you're feeling that way, you're putting that out into the business. You're setting the tone for how the employees show up to the business. They also hate being there. So this is not something that can be fixed overnight. This is not like, throw some donuts at it and it's better now. But it is a thing you can steadily work on over time. And when we talked a few weeks ago about what a time vampire is and how to manage your time more effectively, I talked about, starting with 5 minutes in your truck when you get to the shop to knock out a couple of tasks that you know need to be done. And it kind of gets your day off on the right foot of getting some things done, and you build that over time. It's a couple of the same ideas here, where you want to do small things that improve your company culture every day. This is a conversation before you get started with someone about how their kids are doing. This is, maybe the guys in the shop are really into a TV show that you think is a little bit stupid, you don't care about, and so you don't ever participate in that conversation. Maybe watch a couple episodes of that show so that you can participate in that conversation the morning after that show comes out. Look for things you can do to engage with your employees and make interactions with you positive. So there can be some hesitancy here from employees to receive this sort of interaction. I've talked to a good friend of mine who's been trying to turn around some of the culture in his business. He felt like it had kind of gotten adversarial between him and his employees, and he wanted to bring things back to a good point. And some of those efforts were met with suspicion by employees because the culture had been so bad for a while now that they didn't know what was happening. So you have to slowly build up, and over time, this can look like buying extra Gatorade to bring out to the crews while they're working in the field, or if you're on the truck, picking up drinks for people at a gas station. It can look like getting up to mow and do landscaping projects through the summer. We start really early so that we're getting to get some work done before the heat really sets in. So this might look like, spending 10 to 15 bucks on a couple dozen donuts to bring into the shop before people get started in the morning. Look at the things that you can do that would be a positive experience for your employees, and persevere through any initial resistance or hesitancy that you see there, so that people know that you're sincere and that you're trying to make the business a better place to be. And I promise you that if you make the business a better place to be for your employees, it's going to make it a better place for you to be as well. So look at growing that over time, improving your culture slowly. Look for ways that you can bring employees together, do a barbecue, look for those kinds of events, look for opportunities to volunteer together. I know that Garrett Matthews, who we're going to be talking to about some other stuff here shortly on the channel, they do he has a pizza trailer that they have pizza ovens on. He goes to local events, and it has the Matthews Landscape Pest Control logo on it. So it is advertising for the business, but it's usually we're going to this charity event, this civic event to give away free pizza. And so you can look for opportunities like that for y'all to do things together. I know the last company that I worked at before I started Lightspeed, we volunteered together at a local food pantry, and the other employees that I did that with and the senior management that went with us, we had good conversation while we were there. And it was good team building while we got to come together around something that was positive, right? So look for those opportunities with your employees, and take time to show them that you value them. All right, and then the third point is that you have a direct competitor in your market who is exploiting problems with points 1 and 2, pay and culture, to poach employees from you. You have a competitor who may not even know that you're doing this. They just know that their advertising is working because maybe they can at least present that their culture seems good, or they're paying more. And so people are willing to overlook culture problems to get in the door at a company that pays them more. So look at how try to find these leaks, right? People are stealing employees from you, and they're doing it by being better than you at one of two fronts, or at least marketing that they're better than you at points 1 and 2 of this video. So look at those things, find the holes and patch them. That is how you're going to keep employees long term. And then also, if you watch the video from last week where I talked about how to attract employees, that if you set that stuff up correctly to bring employees in, it's going to keep quality employees around longer term. So both of these videos working together, will help you solve your hiring problem and solve your retention problems. Watch both of them. We'll be back next week with another video to help you grow your business up and beyond $1 million a year in revenue. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week.